Why, yes, I do wash my hair. Thanks for asking. Actually, I'm a little overdue right now, but we'll get to that in a minute. In this video, I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about washing dreadlocks, including but not limited to how to do it, when to do it, what to use, what I do, what you shouldn't do. Let's get into it. So, can you wash your dreads? Of course you can, and you should. I think it's probably an old stereotype at this point that if you have dreads, you can't wash your hair, but probably worth mentioning in this video that yes, you can wash your hair. It says it on the back of my shirt, so that makes it true. Washing your hair is actually beneficial for dreads. Clean hair is gonna lock up better than dirty or oily hair. But how do you wash your dreads? The follow-up question. So people seem to be confused by this, but honestly it's not really difficult or very different from washing normal, loose, non-dreaded hair. So the simplest explanation is you're gonna get in the shower, you're gonna wet your hair first, you're gonna put some shampoo in your hands, emulsify it around, work it through at the scalp root area, and then let the water rinse it out completely through the ends. And that's pretty much it. But to dive a little deeper, wetting your hair first, this is a crucial step. I feel like it's a little harder to work the shampoo through with dreads. You just have like so much hair. And then depending on the shampoo that you're using, which we'll get into. But yeah, wetting your hair really, really thoroughly first is gonna help you disperse the product a lot easier because you don't wanna overuse product. That's probably one of the most important things about this. If you use too much shampoo, it may not rinse out as easily and then it's gonna build up in the hair over time, residue, which can cause problems down the road. It's gonna trap in moisture, it's gonna be sticky in there, it could cause mold, all things that we don't want. So back to wet your hair thoroughly. Use a small amount of product and just be patient working it through. I'll kind of open up my fingers like this and really work it through. I would add more water before adding more shampoo if you're struggling to work it through. If it feels like it's not sudsing up a lot, again, depending on the shampoo that you're using or how dirty your hair is, you may need to do the first one, do a rinse, and then do a second shampoo. That's gonna be a better approach than just adding more and more and more shampoo to your hair. So there's no need to add a bunch of shampoo also to the like bodies or ends of your dreads. After we work it through at the roots, we're just gonna let the water rinse the shampoo through the ends and out completely. And that's plenty for your regular shampoo. So with rinsing, I will like move my hair around and just work in small sections at a time, rinsing well, squeezing the dreads, making sure everything gets out of there and there's no sudsiness still happening. No conditioner or anything like that. Conditioner also leaves behind residue. And it's kind of counterproductive anyway for dreadlocks because conditioners are detangling, which is not what we want. If you need moisture in your hair for some reason, there's oils and other options for that, which I will get into in a different video. But no conditioner. And then the last piece of this is drying. Should you air dry, towel dry, blow dry? Kind of up to you and also depends on the situation. First of all, how often are you washing? So I recommend to my clients and myself to wash once every 1 to 2 weeks. The reason for this is not because shampoo is doing anything bad to your hair, it's them staying wet in the center of the dreads a lot longer than like loose hair would stay wet. So if they're constantly getting wet every single day or really often and they're not getting a chance to dry out well in the middle of the dread, that's gonna turn into like a musty, mildewy, potentially moldy situation. So if you think about like a wet towel that you left crumpled on the floor and it gets like mildewy smelling, that's what will happen to dreads if they're getting wet often and they're not drying out well. So my rule of thumb is if you're washing like less than once per week, you can get away with a towel dry, air dry for the most part. Of course, there are other factors. So if you have really thick dreads and really mature, compact dreads, they're gonna take a lot longer to dry compared to really skinny dreads are gonna dry out quicker. If it's summer out and it's really hot and dry and sunny and you're spending time outside, they're gonna dry faster than if it's cold and damp and wet out, or if you were to wash your hair right before bed and then put your head straight on a pillow. That's gonna take a lot longer to dry. You also don't wanna, with wet hair, just put it up in a ponytail or a bun, because then it's really not gonna dry out quickly. So the goal is to get them to dry as quickly as possible. I typically blow dry. I hate walking around with wet, drippy hair, personally. and then I know that they're getting dry quickly, I'll probably just dry it to like 75% dry and then let it air dry the rest of the way. But a lot of dread heads are pretty low maintenance, don't want to get out a blow dryer, and I totally get that. So yes, you can air dry as long as they're not getting wet super often. You're leaving them down so that they can dry out quickly. Hopefully all of this is making sense. Okay, so I definitely went on a little rant there about drying, but I do feel like that's one of the most crucial things about washing dreads. But back to the washing part, what should you use for shampoo? So I'm gonna try to talk about this in like general speaking terms rather than naming off brands. Because I think if you understand what you're looking for in a dread shampoo, it's gonna help you choose one. I also believe that it's not one size fits all. Different people are gonna like different shampoos depending on what their hair texture is, their environment is, their budget is, their water situation at home, which I'll get into. So what is important about choosing a dread shampoo? What I tell my clients is that you want something that is cleansing and or clarifying and residue free. You want to stay away from anything that's really heavy, moisturizing, smoothing, conditioning type stuff. Why? Anything that's really like heavy, smoothing, moisturizing is going to kind of coat the hair, which is going to leave behind residue. Things that are more on the spectrum of deep cleansing, clarifying are going to really remove buildup. Now that being said, there are specific dreadlock product lines out there, and then there's obviously other products that are not designed or cater to dreadlocks. Do you have to use a dreadlock shampoo? My personal belief is no, as long as you're choosing an appropriate shampoo. What is the benefit to using a dreadlock specific shampoo is that they are gonna typically be designed, hopefully, for being residue free. And then you've got the whole other end of the spectrum of natural products versus products with a bunch of chemicals in it, and that is gonna be up to you. I'm not an expert on chemicals and ingredients, I'm not a scientist, but obviously the more natural, the better. A lot of the dread shampoos out there on the market are on the natural end of the spectrum, you know, using essential oils instead of fragrances, stuff like that. But that's obviously up to you and where your priorities lay. Again, I think the biggest thing when it comes to dreadlocks specifically is just not using anything that is going to leave behind residue. And then at the end of the day, rinsing really, really, really well. And it's just gonna take some trial and error. Like I said, not one size fits all in this department. One person may love a certain dread shampoo and another person hates it. That's not uncommon, so you're just gonna have to experiment a little bit and figure out what works for you. Another piece to this puzzle is hard water. So like here I have hard water, and I feel like hard water reacts a certain way, especially with the more natural shampoos. Stuff that's like oil based, it just doesn't suds as much and or rinse out as well. So somebody that has hard water might be having better success with certain shampoos compared to somebody who does not have hard water. And the last thing I'd like to mention is about deep cleansing, which I think I'm going to do a whole separate video about that, but I'll just mention quickly here, it is good to do more of a deep cleanse or a detox treatment on your dreads once in a while, or an apple cider vinegar rinse, something like that, so that if there is any residue being left behind from your shampoo, you really make sure you work that out once in a while. So like I said, I'll do another video about that. I took a little hiatus from these tutorial type videos, but I am back. I'm planning to do a whole series about all things dreadlock education related. So I'll get into deep cleanses and home maintenance and all sorts of stuff. So stay tuned for that. If you have anything specific that you would love for me to do a video about, please drop that in the comments. I hope this one was helpful, and I will see you on the next one.